Alright, what's up, y'all? So if you didn't know, Kanye and Drake do not like each other really at all right now. They've had a long history of beef and shots thrown at each other. This beef started up again recently when Drake dissed Kanye on Trippie Redd's new song Betrayal, where he says, "Ye ain't changing shit for me, it's set in stone," talking about how people thought Kanye was going to drop the same day as Drake to try to outsell him. You may have seen all over social media that Drake dissed Kanye on a song off his new album, but people aren't talking about a lot of other bars that could have been disses towards Kanye. So in today's video, I'm going to be going over all the potential disses towards Kanye on Drake's new album, Certified Lover Boy. We'll start with the more obvious disses. I'm going to talk about some lines that could have been disses, but I might be reaching a little bit for those. So we know some songs were recorded after the Trippie Redd bar too, because Drake addresses Kanye putting out his address. We also know that he recorded 24 bars the day of the album, so there's a chance there's some disses towards Ye that are very recent, and just some disses towards people we don't know who he's aiming it towards. Or even some lines he recorded a while ago for some stuff Kanye said in the past. I just want to let you know that because I don't want to clickbait and straight up lie to you guys about all the shots he could have thrown. But before we start, I'd appreciate if you like the video if you enjoy it. So the first song where Drake throws a lot of shots at Kanye is on 7 AM on Bridal Path. Here, like I said, Drake throws a ton of shots. This song doesn't have a hook, but would normally be the same length as a verse as just him dissing Kanye. So if you didn't know, Kanye posted Drake's address on his story, and Drake responded to that along with a lot of other things on this song. The first diss on the song was the line, "You boys reaching new lows," which is probably talking about Kanye posting his address, and how he's getting desperate to kind of get back at Drake. He then says the lines on screen, which is talking about him versus Kanye and how people sing all the songs like they're folk songs, talking about Drake. As you can see in the lyrics on screen, he takes countless shots at Kanye. I'll go over the biggest ones here because I don't want to drag this part out. The first part of the verse, "You over there in denial, we not neck and neck. It's been a lot of years since we seen you come and correct," is Drake saying Kanye's way past his prime and talking about his unstable mental health. He then talks about the group chat Kanye made with Drake, Pusha T, Virgil, and a few other people after Drake dissed Kanye on Trippie's song. I also think here he could be talking about the people who are loyal to Kanye, kind of not taking a side here, which could be Virgil giving Drake the watch he references in Life is Good. Then Kanye asking for it, but the complete opposite diamond pattern. On the next line, Drake says, "Clouds hanging over you now because I'm reigning supreme," which is talking about Drake being bigger than Kanye now and him thinking that he's won the beef. On the next few lines, he calls Kanye fake and references that he's bringing people up in the game, and Kanye really isn't. After this, Drake disses Ye's clothing brand Yeezy. Then Drake talks about the Sunday Service Choir and how many members left Kanye and allegedly weren't paid by him at all. After this, Drake takes shots at some other people, but on the line, "Give that address to your driver, make it your destination," instead of just a post out of desperation. He talks about Kanye posting his address and says that Kanye should come over to talk instead of just being petty online. On the next two lines, he pretty much says Kanye is just busy chasing clout while Drake's in his deepest state of meditation. In the next line, "Mind's running wild with the speculation," he talks about Kanye's South Carolina presidential rally, where Ye talked about a bunch of conspiracies and said a lot of things that were just kind of lies and untrue. "Why the fuck we peacemaking, doing the explanation, if we gonna be right back in that bitch without hesitation?" On those lines, Drake questions why they ever try to squash their beef, because they always end up beefing again. On the next few lines, Shin talks about tweets Kanye made about Drake where he calls him bro, and Drake saying that they aren't close so don't call him that. The next line, "I was down to give these people credit but hold the payment," is how Drake used to give Kanye and Pusha T credit for the impact on him in the rap game, but now he doesn't want to or have to give them the credit, probably because of their beef. After this, Drake calls himself the greatest and brings up the fact that he's a lot bigger than Kanye all time. Drake takes another shot in the next bar saying, "And look at the heroes fallen from grace in their older ages," which is a clear shot at Kanye where Drake says his music is getting worse along with his public image as he's getting older. The next line honestly might be the best diss on the whole song, where Drake says, "If we talk in top 3, then you've been sliding third like stolen bases," which is saying Kanye used to be the GOAT, or at least the second best rapper of all time, and he's just kind of sliding down the list because of his new drops. So the next song with a lot of big disses is Pipe Down. Here, Drake has multiple lines directed at Kanye. The first is, "Why does your ex think we beefing? Is that man alright?" This is talking about how Kim thinks Kanye and Drake are beefing all the time, and she's trying to ask if Kanye is okay mentally. Because we all know how Kanye's made some crazy statements over the last few years, this is what Drake could be talking about. The next line, that man can't even look at me, he fell off twice, is talking about how Kanye fell off after he dropped Ye and Jesus is King. Those albums sold well, but not really for Kanye because neither hit 300,000 sales first week. He said that Ye shouldn't be talking shit to him because he fell off twice and Drake's still at the top. In the rest of the verse, he talks about how he wanted Kanye and was on his ass when he first met him. He also talks about wanting to say so much shit to Kanye's face, probably some not great stuff because they disagreed so much. He called Kanye two-faced, referring to his bipolar disorder and how he's fake a lot. He said he would have said a lot of it to him, but didn't know which Kanye he was talking to. The Kanye that's good to him or the Kanye that's fake and snaked him. He also says Ye is the reason they're not cool anymore, and the reason why they're going their separate ways. He says the stuff Kanye doesn't say that really hurts him, which is probably the stuff he has in his head and his true intentions. Like the time he snaked Drake and made all his artists drop their albums around Drake's, which really didn't matter that much. This entire song just feels like a big venting session for Drake, where he just talks about how much he has going through his head and he just needs to get it out. So it makes a lot of sense that he's talking about Kanye on this track. He also says that Kanye is getting in his own way and not Drake, which is kind of true because, Kanye decided to drop on a Sunday instead of a Friday, but that's just Kanye, like Drake said. I'm honestly surprised more people aren't talking about this verse instead of 7 a.m. I feel like he took just as many shots at Ye in this verse. The next song, I saw the title, it was pretty obvious this was going to have some disses towards Ye. It's called No Friends in the Industry. The first shot here, I think, is on the chorus when he says, "No friends in the industry, my brothers been my brothers, man, you people ain't no kin to me." I think here he's just saying how he doesn't want to be associated with Ye and other artists in the industry who are fake. On the second half of the song, he raps, "I had to draw the line between my brothers and my enemies. A fact people love to start the beef, don't want to keep it rap. Yeah, he hit us up and now we owe you something back." Here he's just further distancing himself from Kanye and says how Kanye likes to start beef and doesn't just want to keep it to music. Next, I think he's talking about how Drake flew out to Wyoming to work with Ye and just ended up helping with Ye's album instead of his own. Which is kind of good because, we got this masterpiece.
These bars.
And then in the first verse, he calls out Ye, saying, "Guys so offensive, knowing they don't have no defense. Why they always acting like we can't fix it with a meeting. All that linking up, man, I'ma see you when I see ya. Brothers been my brothers, you. Guys ain't no kin, and that's a fact. And I'm like Shikari, smoke 'em off the track." Here he talks about how Kanye thinks they can fix everything with just one meetup, when they really can't with all their history. Kanye tried to apologize to Drake on Twitter with a lot of tweets, or even when Kanye tried to get Drake in the studio with him, Future, and Travis just a few months ago. He also mentioned Shikari Richardson in this bar, who was in 2 Beats commercials where they previewed Kanye songs off of Donda, and I'm pretty sure Kanye directed the commercials as well. In the second verse, he pretty much confirms he's taking shots by saying, "Damn, this shit too dirty, gotta yellow tape it," which is just pretty much him saying that he's dissing Kanye. A few lines later, he says, "We ain't dropped though, how you people celebrating," which I guess is talking about how Kanye and his team were celebrating the Donda drop when Drake hadn't even dropped his album yet, which would surpass Kanye's album in popularity because, it's Drake. He continued the disses in the rest of the verse, rapping the bars on the screen. The lines, "In your circle shrink and see some boys escape," and is talking about people leaving Kanye's good music label, and Mike Dean leaving studio sessions for Donda out of frustration. He also disses the rest of Kanye's crew, pretty much calling them frauds for just being associated with Ye. He also brings up the Go conversation in the summer where Kanye planned his artist drops around Drake to mess with his sales and his hype. He could just be mentioning it here, saying there's no way he really did that, or just saying Kanye better not make any excuses about planning those drops at those dates. He then talks about the tweets and posts made about Drake, like the apologies that Drake doesn't think were genuine, the disses, and the posts where Kanye brought Drake into the group chat and posted his address online. I think the line, "Bet not make that shit up about the numbers," he's saying Kanye will make an excuse about Donda selling lower just because he dropped on a Sunday. That could be a little stretch, but that's what I'm thinking. In one of the final bars on this song, he says that he doesn't have time for playing games with them, which is funny, because he's dissed them throughout the entire album. So the last song I'm really confident has a lot of disses in it is the song Remorse. And this is the last song of the project. So this is I heard Anthony Fantano call it Diary Drake, so I'm just going to go with that. It's kind of just Drake putting out his thoughts again. And so he takes his final shots at Kanye on this song. The first of the 2 lines are, "Y'all music is watered down, will you love him back? And do you know what I'm on, blowing past you, owning your masters." The first line is another shot at Kanye's new music not being as good as old music. And the second is Drake mentioning again that he's surpassing Kanye in popularity and taking another shot at Kanye because Kanye doesn't own his masters, and he made a pretty big deal about all that. If you own your masters, then you get all the profits from your music, which is streams and sales. But if you don't own your masters, then the label gets a bigger percentage of it than you do. So in the next lines, along with calling Kanye daddy, Drake talks about how Kanye used to be an inspiration and a friend to him, but he ruined it by dropping Lift Yourself, which was just a song with these lyrics.
These bars.
Kanye gave Drake this beat, but he used it to pretty much troll him in the song. He also says that he has a soft spot for Kanye and Pusha T, and is always trying to squash the beef, even though it never actually happens. And the last line I think is a diss was, "From the bottom to the top, man, what's it like in the middle?" Which could be talking about Kanye not selling as well in his albums, and not being at the top of the mainstream, even though those albums start at number 1. It could also be a shot at Pusha T, because, Pusha's never really been mainstream, but he's always been pretty popular. So those are all the obvious disses on the album, but there are a few songs with a few lines I think could be shots at Kanye and maybe even some other people in his camp. Some of these are definitely stretches though, and I just wanted to say that before I got into the songs, so you know they aren't like 100% confirmed. You didn't get clickbaited by this video. So the first is on the first song of the album, Champagne Poetry. So this line I'm going to put up on screen here could be talking about Pusha T dissing him and revealing his son to the world. He brings up his son in this track, and then on the next line says, "Trust, worse has been done." I think this could be a stretch because he's saying like the diss wasn't really as bad as people said it was. I think this line here could kind of be saying that he's been dissed worse or worse has happened to him than Pusha T revealing his son. I think this could be a stretch, but it could also be Drake trying to justify hiding his son and downplaying the fact that he got absolutely bodied by Pusha T when they were dissing each other. The next song is Fair Trade. So this one here is kind of unlikely because, you know, Travis is on the song and Travis is also close with Ye. But on this song, Drake, he raps the lines on screen. So he talks about a pity party, which could be talking about the 3 listening parties Kanye had for Donda, and maybe Drake got invited to these by Kanye behind the scenes and just declined it. He could also be talking about the time where Kanye was in the studio with Future and Travis, and he invited Drake to the studio 3 days in a row, and Drake just stood him up each time. Ye was apparently texting Drake asking for a release date for Certified Lover Boy over that time, and Drake just stood him up and didn't show up. Travis and Future are close with both, so they probably wanted them to squash their beef, but Drake didn't trust Kanye because he did this before, and I honestly don't blame him. I think Drake saying, "Don't invite me to your pity party" could be talking about when this all went down. The last song I'm going to talk about in this video is IMY2, which I think is just I Miss You Too. So this line I'm talking about is probably unlikely too because Kid Cudi is really close with Kanye and was on his album as well. But the line here is bold people getting real italics around me, which is talking about people being tough online but acting completely different in person, which could be talking about Kanye and all the stuff he said online versus the stuff he's done in person with Drake. The reason this is a stretch, like I said, is just because it's one line and Kid Cudi's on the song, and like I said, he's close with Ye, and he might have not even agreed to do a song with Drake if he dissed Kanye. It's kind of a similar situation to the Andre 3000 song that was going to be on Donda, where Kanye pretty much just dissed Drake throughout the whole song, but he declined it. So that's all I got for today's video. If I missed any lines, let me know and I'll comment them down below because I want to make sure I get all the disses so y'all know what's going on, I guess. And I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I'd appreciate if you left a like and maybe even subscribed. But like I said, that's all I got, and peace out.